Okay, I'm going to talk about basic use of the sextant, how to measure an altitude of a body. That is, remember the vertical sextant altitude of the body between the body and the visible sea horizon. The only way to really do this is to do it in practice, but let's try and explain as best we can. And let's say that we are, for example, going to measure the altitude of a star. Now, I won't need any shades for the star. If I do use them, I wouldn't see the star, because remember, the shades are really for use with the sun. Now, we start by putting the instrument on 0. We put it on 0 because we effectively want to see the true and the reflected image initially on top of each other. So there we're basically on 0. I'll try and illustrate this in a more practical setting, but for now, what you're going to do is you're going to look through the sight tube, and you're going to see, if you look up at the heavens, you're going to see your star, and you're going to see, if it's an ideally adjusted instrument, you'll see what looks like one star, which is in effect both the true and the reflected star on top of each other. After all, the light from the star comes two ways to you. It comes reflecting off the index mirror, off the horizon glass, and to your eye. But it also comes by reflecting, it also comes from a direct view through the glass part of the horizon glass. So you're seeing, in effect, two stars which hopefully view as one. What you're doing now is looking up at the star. You effectively want to bring the reflected image of the star down to the horizon. So what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze this clamp and move this forward. As you do, in your view, you're going to see the reflected image of the star shoot out of your view. It's going to move out of view. If nothing moves, be careful, you're probably then looking at the actual true star and not the reflected. And if that is the case, just shift your view slightly so that you're seeing the star in that reflected part there and not there. You want to see the reflected image. So as you move this forward, that star should shoot upwards. When you're learning, you find perhaps as you move this, if it's not a smooth movement, you'll sort of lose everything. And if you do that, just put it back to 0. Take it away from your eye, put it back to 0, start again. And in fact, do this for starters when you're learning. Turn the drum, and you'll see a small movement of that reflected star. Right. Now, as I say, moving this forward, that reflected image is going to shoot upwards. But you want to keep it in view. So what you're effectively going to do is you're going to rotate the sextant while you move this. So you're going to have this movement of the index arm and this rotational movement. So you're going to do something like this. You're going to keep it in view until it approaches the horizon. So at some point you'll probably see the horizon through here, and at that point, looking here, you'll see the star and you'll see the horizon, and the star will be perhaps a little above or below the horizon. And at this point you're going to fine tune. So you release that clamp and you fine tune to bring the star effectively onto the horizon. Now, how do you know that you're holding the instrument vertically? You may be holding it slightly skew. Well, what you do is you rock the instrument, and while you're viewing through there and you rock it, you will notice the reflected image will actually move in a small partial arc, and at the lowest point in the arc, that will prove that you're effectively holding the instrument vertically. So you need to achieve two things. You need to be at the lowest point of the arc with that star, say, just scraping on your horizon. If this, for example, edge of the table was my horizon, I would want the star to be doing just that at my lowest point. And at that point, I could say stop. And I could then have an assistant read my time. Well, if you're taking it yourself, then of course you then rock the sextant till you're happy with the setting, finish your fine tuning, and as you stop, you look at your time. And then you read the sextant. And then that way we get both the altitude, that is the vertical angle of the body, and we also note the time. If we are measuring the altitude of the sun, there's a couple of things we need to do. We need some shades, probably all the horizon shades for starters. And from experience, I find the middle two shades of these. And one difference with the sun is effectively going to appear as a round ball. It won't be a little dot like a star. So which part of the sun are we going to place on our horizon? Well, effectively, we want to measure to the middle of the sun. But how do we do that? Well, it's difficult to judge the center, so we don't. What we do is we bring the lower edge, or what we call the lower limb, or the upper limb, pick one, onto our horizon. And then we allow for that half diameter when it comes to doing our calculations. Another thing is with the sun, we've obviously got our shades in place. But as you bring that sun down to the horizon, well, now we can't even see the horizon. So now as you approach the horizon, move those out the way and you can see the horizon. If there's glare, you could keep maybe a light horizon shade in place. So with the sun, you definitely need those shades, and with the sun on the horizon, you'll have those out the way, maybe one to allow for glare, and then you're seeing the sun on the horizon. The shades will probably color the sun a certain color, and now you can rock the instrument and make sure that at the lowest point of that arc of movement of that reflected sun, that you are then placed, say, the lower or upper limb, according to what you're going to choose on your horizon.